Hello friends. So today we will go with the next module, and next topic is pressure measurement. As we already discussed some of the pressure measurement instruments in the previous classes also, but now we will move towards the high vacuum measurements, high vacuum and the low level. So in the high vacuum measurements, we are having the different kinds of the measuring instruments, that are the Maglor gauge, ionization gauge, thermocouple gauge, Pirani gauge and Bunsen gauge. These are the some of the high vacuum measurement pressure gauges. So whereas the low pressure means vacuum. So vacuum pressure gauges are used to measurement below that atmospheric, and this pressure is commonly referred as a vacuum. Means whenever you are checking the pressure below that of the atmospheric pressure, that is called as a vacuum. So in order is the pressure equivalent to 1 mm Hg at standard conditions. It is 1 mm Hg as the standard conditions, and 1 micrometer, that is 10 raised to minus 3 torr. This is the vacuum range pressure. So next will be the high vacuum measurement, that is the Maglor gauge. As seen in the figure here, totally we are having the two different methods. One is the direct method and one more is the indirect or inferential method. These are two different. So whereas in the direct method, it involves measurement of a displacement produced by elastic or transducer, produced by elastic or transducer. So whereas in the indirect process, manometers and bellows, manometers and below gauges can be used for pressure up to 0.1 torr to 0.1 torr for the Bourdon gauge, and Bourdon gauge to 10 torr, and diaphragm, that is up to 10 raised to minus 3 torr we can use. So the commonly used devices for the low pressure is, one is this one important thing, that is a Maglor gauge, Bunsen, viscosity thermocouple, then Pirani and ionization, whatever we have already told. So let us start with the first one, that is Maglor gauge. So here as shown in the figure, so at the top of this one we have the open section to the vacuum. One is the reference capillary, then sealed capillary. So in that one we have set for the zero line. In between we are having the bulb B, cutoff range, reservoir for to storing the liquid. So this entire setup is called as a Maglor gauge. So here as shown in this figure, so we have already filled with the liquid here. So it is essentially a manometer and is used mercury. Here we are going to use as a mercury as a manometer fluid. So Maglor gauge is the gauge is the compression of a sample of the low pressure gases, sample of the low pressure gas to a level which is sufficiently high so that it can be read with the use of simple manometer. It can be used with the read of simple manometer. Okay. So to start with the Maglor gauge process. So what are the process undergone with the Maglor gauge? To start the process of the measurement, the plunger is withdrawn. Here the manometer liquid reservoir, the plunger is withdrawn, lowering the level. Here what we are going to do is, here we are going to lowering the level of the mercury below the opening, thereby admitting the gas at the unknown pressure. Gas at the unknown pressure. Okay. Where are the high pressure gauge? So what it means? Start with the process of measuring, the plunger is withdrawing. So lowering the level. Here what we are going to do is, here we are going to lowering the level of the mercury below the opening, thereby admitting the gas. So whatever the gas is present, we are admitting the gas at the unknown pressure. Admitting the gas by the called as the unknown pressure. Say take it as unknown pressure P. Let the volume of the gas admitted into the measuring capillary. So here we are having the measuring capillary at the left side of this one. So measuring capillary, bulb and into the down of the opening, that is a, say take it as called as a V. The bulb and the measuring capillary are then at the same pressure as the vacuum sources P. Are you getting a point? Let the volume here. let the volume of the gas admitted into the measuring capillary, then what we can do, we can have the bulb and the into down to the opening of velocity, that is V. The bulb and the measuring capillary are then at the same pressure as the vacuum sources P. Okay. So when the plunger, next part is when the plunger is pushed in, the mercury, whatever the mercury is present in the Maglor gas, that mercury level goes up. That mercury level is going to goes up. Sealing of the gas sample, known as the value, known as the value. Say take it as a V in the bulb, and the measuring capillary. So whatever the measuring capillary is there, the measuring capillary further motion of the plunges caused compression of this sample, and the motion of the plunger is continued. Until the level of the mercury is at 0 mark. Until the mercury is at 0 mark in the reference capillary. Second point, when the plunger is pushed in, the mercury level goes up. Obviously the mercury level is going to up. Sealing of the gas sample is called as a volume in the bulb, and the measuring capillary further motion of the plunger caused compression rate there, caused the compression of the sample, and the motion of the plunger is continued until the level of the mercury is at the reference, that is a 0 mark in the reference capillary. Clear? So let us we take as a equation, that is a PV equal to PC into AT into H. So finally if you want to find out the pressure, that is a P is equal to rho m into H square into HT divided by V minus AT H into P. This is a simple equation for finding out the pressure under the Maglor gauges. So here the same theory I have told you. Let us see here. So in this diagram, example, the Maglor gauge has a VB, that is 100 centimeter cube, and a capillary diameter of 1 mm. Calculate the pressure indicated by the reading of 4 centimeter. So here simple we have given the readings. So reading is distance between from reference capillary to the bulb, that is a 4 centimeter, and total height of this one VB is the 100 centimeter cube. So with this simple example we can conclude with the Maglor gauges. So what are the advantages under this one? Let us see here the advantage. So it is independent of the gas composition. It is totally independent. It will not depend upon the any of the fluid. It is totally independent. Used as a standard to calibrate other low pressure gauges. Here also we can use for the low pressure gauges also. No need to apply any corrections to the Maglor readings. Here whatever the readings we are going to get, that will be the final. No need to change or no need to correct the readings. This is the advantage part. Then the limitations. Next part we have the limitations. Limitation is nothing but the disadvantage. The gas must obey the Boyle's law. That is compulsory. Without, if it is not going to obey the Boyle's law, it is going to fail to find out the pressure under the Maglor gauges. Okay. The presence of condensable vapor causes pressure readings to be low, so moisture trap should be provided. Moisture traps also we can provide here. The measuring tube should have small diameter, but capillary effect can produce significantly uncertainty. The measuring tube, we are having the measuring tube here, that measuring tube will be having the smaller diameter, but capillary effect can produce the significantly uncertainty, means uncertainty answers will be available. It can be give continuous readings, thus steady state coordination must prevail for the useful measurement. Clear? So this is a simple part of the Maglor gauges. So next part we will move with the high vacuum measurement, that is the ionization gauge. We will move with the ionization gauge. So what it says in the ionization gauge? Let us see the diagram here. Gas molecule, ion and the electrons. So how it is going to connect with each other? An electron passing through a potential difference will acquire a kinetic energy. that is proportional to the potential difference. Simple. Means an electron passing through an electric field in a gas produced by two electrodes acquires a kinetic energy which is proportional to the potential difference between two electrodes, that is friction. So when this electron strikes a gas molecule, keep in mind, when these electrons strikes a gas molecule and when this acquired energy is large, when this acquired energy is large enough, but there is a definite probability that the electron will derive an electron out of the molecule, leaving it to a positive changed ion. Okay, leaving it to a positive changed ion. Then the driven out electron in the ionization gas, are you getting a point? Then the driven out electron, so whatever the electron driven out by this one in the ionization gas, a stream of electrons is limited from a cathode. Okay, from a cathode. Let us see here the simple diagram. So in this one, in this container, we are having the one side we are connected with the cathode and another side we are connected with the electron collectors. So this will be showing with the diagram to a system. So working principle, as I already told you, high vacuum measurement. So this is what the simple available diagram of the ionization gauges for getting the high vacuum measurements. Clear? Next part we will move the thermal conductivity gauges. So that is the thermocouple gauge and the Pirani gauge. Thermocouple conductivity gauges, that is thermocouple and Pirani gauge. So what it says, the principle of operation is that in this one, the principle of operation is that is the pressure of a gas becomes smaller and smaller. That the pressure of the gas becomes smaller and smaller. The mean true path, that is the mean free path, that is the lambda of the molecule became greater and greater. Are you getting? The principle of this operation is that the pressure of the gas became smaller and smaller. The mean free path lambda of the molecule became greater and greater. In fact, at very low pressure. The main free path may be significantly greater than the pertaining dimensions of the apparatus. This is what the procedure for the high vacuum measurement under thermal conductivity gauge. In that one we can go with the thermocouple gauge. Here let us see the thermocouple gauge. For example, for a given gas and the heating current, the temperature assumed by the hot surface depend on pressure temperature of the surface is measured by a thermocouple. Means in this diagram, one will be the cold surface, that is called as the glass tube. Then one more will be the hot surface, that is a thin metal strip. So in between we are having the adjust heating current, that is to heat the hot surface. We have to go with the heat the hot surface. Then left side will be the high impedance microvolt meter we have to attach. Then thermocouple we have to set at the in between. So now the procedure in this one is, the hot surface is a thin metal strip whose temperature may be varied. The hot surface is a thin metal strip whose temperature may be varied by changing the value of current, passing through it. So whenever the current is going to pass through the hot surface, that is thin metal strip, it is going to vary. The temperature of the heated strip lies between 50 degrees Celsius to 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, 50 degree Celsius to 400 degree Celsius. The temperature of the metal strip is measured with the help of thermocouple, which is welded to hot surface, which is welded to hot surface. Okay, then what will happen? The thin metal strip and the thermocouple are enclosed. The thin metal strip and the thermocouple are enclosed in a glass tube, which is sealed into the vacuum system, whose pressure is to be measured, the core surface is formed. By the glass tube which is at the room temperature. Then what will happen? The thermocouple provides an output voltage which is a function of the temperature, of the heated strip, which in turn in a function of the pressure of the gas whose pressure is being measured. Let us see the below diagram. So this is the diagram where heated filament is attached. Okay, so this is what we have completed the high vacuum measurement and low vacuum measurement. Means whenever the pressure is at the low, means that is below the atmospheric condition, we can quote as a vacuum. Okay, so the further module will be in the next class. Okay, thank you.